it cries when you fall. Someday I'll see the truth just plain as day. All of my doubt and fears will melt away. Till then I'm satisfied to live each day in His love, in His love, in His love. In His love, in His love, in His love. In His love, in His love.
I hope you all get an opportunity to come up and look at this. This is just so magnificent. I chose to set up here today. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do that consistently, but I'll tell you, looking at your smiling faces, I may just do this just because I like seeing you guys smiling. It feels really good to see you and to be here and to be in this place, and to be in our new home. And life is getting good and getting better every day. Every day. I'm not going to try and hold this microphone. If it starts bumping around, we'll move it, but I think it still picks up a little bit. Can you guys hear a little bit? So,
sure.
Am I projecting well enough?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I think, curious. Let me turn it off a second. Again, we're in experimental mode today. You guys hear me all right?
Yeah.
Good acoustics. That's great. I'll turn it on anyway. Just in case, you know, I might need to pay. You never know. Well, thank you all for being here. It is, as you can imagine, I'm absolutely overjoyed and thrilled to be here and to be in this place. And the visions of the future are just unfolding in so many wonderful ways. It does become a little overwhelming at times. It just is so magnificent to see the progress, to see the growth, and see the unfoldment of Spirit in this way. I want to tell you a little bit about my week. I'm not going to tell you this now. I had a very, very powerful week. And it's been one of those weeks that has been filled with the energy and the excitement of moving into our new home. And it's been also filled with some real sad points for me in different ways. And I'll say more about that later. It's been a real up and down week. And the phrase that I kept hearing in different ways, in different places, and you'll understand a little bit better as I get into some of this, is I kept hearing this phrase up in the air over and over again. There were so many things that are up in the air. And the reality is there are still so many things that are up in the air in terms of our being here, in terms of the move, but also just so many different things in life. And so it really sparked me to be thinking about that idea of being up in the air. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what that's like. And I know that it's something that's a very common thing that we all experience at different times. And we're not always comfortable with that, are we? We really, there's a little bit of a sense of discomfort with that feeling of being up in the air. It's an interesting metaphor. Julie and I were talking about that, and what that really kind of means in some ways. But I came across a story, shift gears a little bit. I came across a story, and this will be wonderful for Lisa today. She's here from Chicago. It was actually a man who flew into Chicago and hired a taxi to take him downtown. And as he was driving and riding along, the driver came to a red light and just drove right through it. And The man said, hey, wait a minute, that was a red light, you know, you're supposed to stop at the red light. And the driver said, yeah, I know, but my brother does it all the time. And the guy was going along, and soon they came to another red light, and the guy just ran right through the red light. He said, wait, that's another red light. Are you trying to get us killed? He said, oh, yeah, that's all right. My brother does this all the time. And the guy was just, you know, about ready to get out of it, tell the guy to stop, get out of the cab. And they come to a green light, and the guy comes up and he stops. And he says, hey, it's a green light. You're supposed to go on a green light. And he says, yeah, but my brother may be by any minute now. It's been one of those weeks where I kind of felt like things were stopping and going, and I wasn't sure whether I was supposed to go. And coming and moving into this space for this week, it was actually a pretty wise decision, I think, on the part of the leadership to let this be kind of a trial run this week, because we weren't sure whether we were going to be able to be in here, whether we were going to be able to have our services here, whether we were going to be able to have our Sunday services here. So we were kind of really up in the air for most of the week about whether we're going to be in this space or not. And finally, we just said, well, we're going to keep moving forward with the understanding that we're going to be able to do it. We did get permission actually from the landlord to be here, so we're okay from that perspective. And at the same time, we know everything in here that we brought in has to go out this week, because we have to get it inspected and get the COO. So that's been kind of a really funny place to be. And I really kept thinking about this in terms of transitions. And sometimes the world we're going through is full of red and green lights, and sometimes we feel like we see a red light and we run through it, and then other times we see a green light and we feel like we have to stop. I thought that was a pretty funny story from that perspective. Sometimes the thing that really came to me is that we are in a process called transition. And there are classical experiences that all of us go through when we're in transition. Anybody else know what I'm talking about? We're all kind of in transition in some way, aren't we? There's some transition that's going on in our lives. And when you're in transition, there are three primary activities in transition. There's an ending. There's always an ending. And last week we celebrated an ending, didn't we? We celebrated an ending, and an ending of being in a space that we've been in for many years. And I think, Charles, was it 2009 when we first started meeting the American Legion?
2008 in January.
2008 started meeting the American Legion Hall. So you guys do the math. It's been a week or two. And so, there was some letting go that needed to happen. And we went through a service and a ceremony to talk about the letting go process. And I know many people have felt like they felt really, good about moving into the new space, but there's always a little sadness about letting go of things. And then the next step that happens in a transition process is oftentimes been referred to, and I've been guided to pull out this wonderful work again. This is a great book. If you haven't gotten this one, this is one I highly recommend. It's called Finding Yourself in Transition by Robert Drummond. Robert Drummond is a wonderful Unity minister who was actually a Unity teaching at the Unity Ministerial School for a year, and was at the head of the Unity School. And it's a great work, and inspired a lot by the classic William Bridges book on transitions. And he says, using his life changes for a spiritual awakening. And I kept getting these awarenesses about this idea of transition in our mood. And so the next phase that we experience in a transition after the ending, and somewhere in between there perhaps, and the new beginning, is a void. He describes it as the void. And the void is actually a very powerful place. But it oftentimes is a very confusing place, because oftentimes you're not one place and you're not the other place. And I thought about that in terms of where we are right now. We're not fully in this place yet. We're here now, and it's great, and we are celebrating it, and it's good. And yet there's also still this kind of, but we have to move everything out and then move everything back in still. I thought, well, isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting that we would be going through a classical kind of transition process in doing this? And so there's a blessing in that, though. It's a really valuable awareness for to pay attention to and to notice that, okay, we're in process. And transition is a process, isn't it? When you go through the experiences and changes in your life, it's valuable to know that you have these steps. And when you get through the part of the void, then you get into the new beginnings. It's kind of neat because we're doing this as we said, a trial run this week. Next week, our intention is to do a dedication, and that's what we can really see ourselves being in the new beginning part. And then from there, we're actually going to do a grand opening where we're going to invite all of the community to come in, and lots of different people, everybody in the neighborhood to come in and really publicize and all of that. So it's really a wonderful process, and if you think about it, it's actually the same steps that all of us go through when we go through changes in life, when we go through some kind of shift. Anybody going through a change this morning? So it's not just moving the church. Okay, I just wondered if it was just. There was Gary Richmond tells a story about the birth of giraffes, and it's in a book called A View from the Zoo. I came across this story. It says the first thing to emerge are the baby giraffe's front hooves and head. A few minutes later, the plucky newborn is hurled forth and falls 10 feet and lands on its back. Within seconds, he rolls up to an upright position with his legs tucked under his body. And from the position, he considers the world for the first time and shakes himself. The mother giraffe lowers her head long enough to take a quick look. Then she positions herself directly over the calf. She waits for about a minute, and then she does the most unreasonable thing. She swings her long, pendulous leg outward and kicks her baby so that it is sent sprawling head over heels. And when it doesn't get up, the violent process is repeated over and over again. And the struggle to rise is momentous. As the baby calf grows tired, the mother kicks it again to stimulate its efforts. And finally, the calf stands for the first time on its wobbly legs. And then the mother giraffe does the most remarkable thing. She kicks it off its feet again. Why? She wants it to remember how it got up.
Wow.
In the wild, baby giraffes must be able to get up as quickly as possible, to stay with the herd where there is safety. Lions, hyenas, leopards, and wild hunting dogs all enjoy young giraffes, and they would get to it if the mother didn't teach the calf to get up quickly and get on with it. I thought, wow, what a powerful teaching. You know, you and I, many times, are like that baby calf, aren't we? Sometimes we find ourselves, giving birth and being born in new ways, and really not being a little disoriented, and not really knowing where to go and how to stand up. And whether it's our mother or life in general, sometimes we find that we're given a good swift kick, and it's all for the purpose of helping us to stand up, move into a higher place, move into a better awareness, move into a higher level of understanding and energy and consciousness, to be able to see from a higher place perhaps. Can you see that? Can you see the value? Mother Teresa says, I know God won't give me anything I can't handle. I just wish He didn't trust me so much. So I've been thinking about this idea of being up in the air, and I've had a number of different things that have gone on from this week that were not necessarily really up energies for me. I found out that one of my favorite cousins has passed on, and haven't seen him in a while, and felt sad that I hadn't seen him in a while. So I been feeling some real sadness about that. And I also was aware and became aware that a good friend of mine, another Unity minister, one of my just inspirations in many ways, has terminal cancer and is really in hospice care at this point. And so, I mean, I'm feeling the sadness of that. And found out that another really good friend had made his transition, a wonderful man, 94 years old, 94 years, 7 months, and 2 days, made his transition. And as he was passing on, he said to his son-in-law, another good friend, it's been a good run. And he also shared the last thing that he said was, give my deepest respect to those who know me and those whose company I enjoy. Life, for all its pain, is so beautiful. Tell them to live every moment. So I feel the sadness of losing dear friends, and also feel the joy of gaining new insights and new experiences with my family here, new opportunities, new possibilities of good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Look, the universe provides. Thanks, Bill. It's been a really powerful week, and I came across this Peanuts cartoon. Lucy is sitting there with Linus and sitting in front of the television, watching television, and Lucy says, go get me a glass of water. Linus says, why should I do anything for you? Why should I get you a glass of water? And she says, well, on your 75th birthday, I will make you a cake. So Linus gets up, goes and gets her a glass of water, and you hear him as he's walking by and says, it's good to have something to look forward to. Yeah. So I've had experiences of feeling really down this week in many ways. Also experiences of feeling up this week. And, you know, they're both wonderful. They're both valuable. They're both significant and important. You don't necessarily want to stay in the down energy, but at the same time, going through it can bring you up to a whole other level of up energy. I really celebrate my cousin. I celebrate my friends who passed on. I celebrate my friend who's going through his transition. And I celebrate all of those who have made their transition. You know, I also am aware that, you know, tomorrow is Memorial Day, and I just want to take a moment and honor all of those who have served to help us live a better way and to live a better life. I'd like to ask, how many of you have had those in your life who have died in service in our country? You don't have to raise your hand, but just hold them in your thoughts for a moment and just bless them for the gifts that they sent forth for themselves and for our country. I know we want to honor those who have given of themselves. And I, for one, want to elevate Memorial Day, not taking away from those who served in the military, but just really also honor those who serve, period. To really honor those who serve us in so many ways in life. And so I do acknowledge and give thanks for the service that all have provided to help make us, put us in a place where we are able to experience the blessings that we are experiencing even now. Well, as I said before, when we talk about transitions, we have endings, we have the void, we have the beginnings. So there's when we have endings, there's oftentimes a bit of confusion. There's oftentimes things don't always go as we plan. Have you noticed that? You know, we were really planning on having all this place filled with furniture and having things on the wall and all kinds of things. We were, you know, that saying, you know how to make God laugh, right? You tell him your plans. And so we had a really interesting little thing. Now, the chairs that you're sitting on, we bought some wonderful chairs for you folks to sit on. And they, you know, we put down a deposit to hold 120 really nice chairs, and we made arrangements to go pick them up with our with the Penske trailer you see out, or the truck you see out there, they said, well, we're sorry to tell you this, but we only have 32.
Oh.
We don't know how it happened. We're really sorry, but we sold the others to somebody, and they don't know what happened to them apparently. So, I said, okay, well, how are you guys going to take care of this? We're having services here this Sunday. And they loaned us the chairs that you're sitting on so that we can go ahead and have our service. And we went ahead and drove all the way up to Gainesville, north of Dallas, and picked them up. Had a good tour of both. And had a good road trip, didn't we, guys? It was gorgeous. We had a good road trip up there, and we picked them up. The plan was actually then to come back and have the truck. I had the truck for 3 days, and I thought, okay, well, we'll just load the stuff up to the storage unit that's been donated to it and move all of our furniture in. Well, that's not going to happen today or tomorrow. So, we have to do things a little differently. The chairs that you have right now, those are the 45-minute chairs. We've got 1.5-hour chairs that are in case I get on a roll. These are a little softer, I want you to know. So, they're nice chairs, but we're going to have even nicer chairs for you. That's a good thing. Yeah. So, we didn't get the certificate of occupancy. We kept kind of waiting. That was up in the air. We weren't sure whether we were going to get it or not. We were hoping we were going to get it this week. The other thing is we actually had scheduled another wonderful musician, Ginger Goss, was going to be with us today. And Ginger's father made this transition. So we will hold her in prayer and send her lots of love and energy. And she just didn't think she could do this today. And so we're blessed that Miss Lissy was able to be here with us and share her music with us today. Bless his heart, I want you to know that our blessed Charles is here by the grace of God. Archie Charles, we're so grateful for him, but I was encouraging him to stay home today, to be honest, and so but he's here and we're grateful, and so I thought, okay, well, we're learning about the transition and going with the flow. I wanted to share with you this idea. We talk about this idea of up and down. And I came across this, and haven't you really thought about the word up very much? Have you really spent much time meditating on the word up? There's a wonderful little theme that came out many years ago, I think, in the Old Farmer's Almanac. How many uses for the word up? How many uses can you think of? Well, you could start up by looking up the word in the dictionary and discovering that it takes up a lot of space, and that doing so takes up time too. Here's more. When a topic comes up, then speak up, especially if you're up for it. Election. It's up to the secretary to write up the minutes of a meeting, and to brighten up a room, polish up the silver and fix up the old sofa, and you might work up an appetite by doing that. But don't stir up trouble, call your mother, and you will need to line up for tickets and dress up for the show unless you can think of an excuse not to. And when it clouds up and rains, bear in mind that afterward it will be clearing up. Remember that a drain has to be opened up when it's stopped up, but a store is opened up in the morning and closed up at night. So, are you up to it? Or simply mixed up? Don't give up, even though you may wind up with nothing. And well, maybe we should wrap it up, as our time is up. So for now, we'll just shut up, and what you do is up to you. A lot of uses for the word up. And sometimes that feels good, and sometimes it feels like being up in the air, doesn't it? Well, being up in the air just feels like uncertainty. How many of you like uncertainty? I didn't see any tentative hands there. We live in a place, in a world, in a way, where we oftentimes experience uncertainty. And it's in those very times, those very moments, that we are given an opportunity to learn certainty. Think about that for a moment. We would never actually actualize and utilize and practice our faith if we already knew all of the outcomes. Isn't that true? What would be the purpose of having faith? If we didn't have risk in our lives, we didn't have uncertainty, we didn't have some things that we just don't know and can't figure out, what would be the purpose of even having faith in the first place? Catherine Ponder in the Healing Secret of Ages says, when things are inharmonious or out of order, instead of rushing out frantically trying to make them right in an outer way, instead of trying to change other people and make them more orderly, this process, by the way, this process usually only leads to more discord. Remind yourself that lack of order first exists within you. If you can get your own thoughts and feelings ordered, and the people, situations, and even the universe about you will respond in a more orderly way. Wow. When I read that, I went, okay, I'm listening, Catherine. So I took some time to just sit with that, knowing that even in this orderly, chaotic universe, there is harmony. Peace. And you and I can tap into that. We can tap into that experience of knowing that even in those times, in those situations when things don't go the way we think they're supposed to go, not that that ever happens to anybody here, right? But when it does, we know that we're not stuck in that place. We're not stuck in that disorder. We're not stuck in that void. That there always will be and always is. We're separated. The void's not a bad place. The void is about strengthening our faith. So we're grateful for this opportunity. The little lessons that we get along the way. You guys know what yours are. You know what your transition is. You know the confusion that can come. You know the void that you can feel. Just know that on the other side of that, there's something wonderful and magnificent. One of my favorite poems, and one that's helped me significantly over the years, is, I can remember it so well, when I first actually read it. It was actually, the first time I read it was actually when I was in ministerial school. And I was finding myself experiencing a number of challenges going through ministerial school and other opportunities for growth. And going before the licensing and ordination committee, you guys don't know what I'm talking about. They're the guys who make sure that I can do what I'm doing up here. And they're very good at making sure you can do it. And if you can't do it, they're making sure that they are very lovingly redirecting you in a different direction. And so I was in a place where I was really, really nervous about going before the license ordination committee. I felt like I was doing well, but sometimes you just don't know. But was praying about it and listening and really getting conscious of that Christ presence and really trying to listen to that peace within. And came across this poem by Lowell Fillmore. Lowell Fillmore is the son of Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. It's called The Answer. When for a purpose I have prayed and prayed and prayed until my words seemed worn and bare with arduous use, and I had knocked and asked again, and all my fervor and persistence brought no hope, I paused to give my weary brain a rest and cease my anxious human cry. In that still moment, after self had tried and failed, there came a glorious vision of God's power. And lo, my prayer was answered in that hour. I love it. Well, I've been getting all kinds of messages about transition and how to do that, and how to go through transition. And I get inspiration from all places, especially and including my lovely wife, Julie. And I bought this book a while back, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet. And I'm working on getting to this one. It's called The Untethered Soul. Some of you may be familiar with this. And what I read of it is quite beautiful. We're probably going to do some work with this coming up soon. And it's by Michael Singer. But she came across a passage that really spoke to both of us about my topic for today. Let me read just a little bit of it for you. When you feel pain, simply view it as energy. Just start seeing these inner experiences as energy passing through your heart and before the eye of your consciousness. Then relax. Do the opposite of contracting and closing. Relax. Relax your heart until you are actually face to face with the exact place where it hurts. And stay open and receptive so you can be present right where the tension is. You must be willing to be present right at the place of the tightness and the pain, and then relax and go even deeper. This is very deep growth and transformation. But you will not want to do this. You will feel tremendous resistance to doing this. And that's what makes it so powerful. As you relax and feel the resistance, the heart will want to pull away. So close to protect and to defend itself. Keep relaxing. Relax your shoulders and relax your heart. Let go and give room for the pain to pass through. It's just energy. And just see it as energy and let go. And that's our work for this week. As we are moving through this time of endings, through the time of this transition of void, and confusion, and in and out, and back and forth, moving into our new beginnings, let's take the time to make sure that we are opening our hearts, listening, breathing, being in that flow, of allowing the energy of the presence to move through us in just the right way. There's your homework. Maybe for this week and probably for the rest of our lives. Let's move into our meditation session. Through the muscles of your face and eyes, down into your shoulders, arms, hands. Feeling it flowing down your back, and let yourself be supported by the chair that you're in, just as you allow yourself to be supported by the Holy Spirit of God. This place of peace and relaxation, let it flow down, all the way down into your hips and legs, and down through your feet, and all the way down into the floor below, and all the way down to the center of the earth. Connecting you with our beautiful planet, and letting that energy, that light, that awareness go all the way out from the top of your head to the center of the universe. Being grounded and also being lifted. And know that if there's some awareness or some difficult, uncomfortable place or feeling or sense in your life right now, know that it is in that light as well. Know that it is energy. And when you feel the pain of it and the discomfort of it, just view it as energy. Start seeing that inner experience of energy passing through your heart. And before your eyes of your consciousness. And relax. If you feel yourself starting to tighten up when you think about it, just let yourself breathe. Opening your breath, your heart. Relax until you are really aware of that flow of energy. Even in that exact place where it feels uncomfortable, feel that expanding. Stay open. Open to receive the flow and to allow the flow through you. Be present to it. Be open to the strength that's coming through. Be open to the greater possibilities of good, even in the midst of those seeming challenges and pains. Relax and feel even the resistance you have. The heart will want to pull away and close down, but just let yourself trust and be open and flowing. And as you let go, feel that pain, feel that discomfort being filled with the energy of love, of peace, and being transformed in just the right and perfect way, knowing that the Spirit of God is present, that the Spirit of healing is present, the Spirit of abundance is present, that the Spirit of spiritual awareness and guidance is present in you, flowing through you. And just accept and know that it is happening in just the right and perfect time and right and perfect way. And let your heart feel a sense of peace and well-being. Thank you, Blessed Spirit. Thank you. Take a nice deep breath. Let a feeling of gratitude come into your heart for the transformation, for the healing, for the shifting, for rising up the spiritual light in and through you and in and through your life. Take one more nice deep breath. Let your eyes gently come open. Be back in this room, this time and place. Move around a little bit. And give thanks.